Hey, welcome to the Curious Native Podcast. I'm your host, Huna Smakathian, and in today's episode of the podcast, I will be doing a Get to Know Me. I thought that since I'm always talking about Indigenous related topics and issues, that I should formally introduce myself and answer some questions along the way, while I'm at it. That way, so, I could get, the audience could get to know me a little better as the host, so I think we should just jump right into it with the most common question that I got sent to me, which is, "What is your name?" My name is Nate. That's my formal name, my government name. But I go under the name Huna Smakathian. That is my pen name. That is my stage name, and that is the title that I took on. Which I guess could lead me into the next question that I want to answer, which is, what does Huna Smakathian mean? And Huna Smakathian is two words that I had put together from my native language, Mutsun. Which the formal word for medicine man in my language is referring to a specific type of practice from my ancestors. So I don't practice that. That's why I didn't take on that title. So I took two words and I put them together, which Hunasmak means healer and Athian means man. So healer man, which the reason why that is my name online is because when I originally decided to have an online presence, I was going to talk about religion and spirituality and all that stuff. So I wanted to have forget what they are called in like the occult, but a name that you have in place of yours to protect you from like spiritual attacks and that of the of that nature. But yeah, I don't make that kind of content. I usually keep my spirituality and everything else like that kind of close to heart now after I've had some bad experiences online, but which I do want to, I've been talking about like my native language and my nation, all that. So, what nation are you from? I am from the Thamian Nation. The Thamian Nation is we are native to the Santa Clara Valley, and we are the first peoples of Las Guerreros. The Thamian traditional lands are on the southern San Francisco Peninsula, encompassing over 1,300 square miles. Um, what's it called? Damian Nation, enrolled tribal citizens have direct lineages to pre-contact villages of the greater Santa Clara Valley, including Ridosky Village. Excuse me, I'm reading this off from here. San Juan, Bautista, Rancheria, Upper Guadalupe River to Central Coyote Creek, all the ways down to San Francisco Solano Ranchero, side of the Mission San Jose in Fremont. I am reading this off from my tribe's official website, which I will leave in the description box because we have a different donation links, which you could donate to one or more times if you like. There is tax refundable, so you can, you can write this off in your taxes. If that's what you're trying to do, which, we don't judge. You're donating, and that's helping strengthen the Thami Nation by building healthy Native families and investment for the future generations. Putting in money into our land fund, which will help us buy back our ancestral, cultural, traditional lands from the government, so we can practice freely on them. Which, I guess this is kind of not the greatest transition, but since we are on the topic of native what's it called? I guess what's the best word to describe it? What I'm thinking of, native related native related issues, because I was speaking on trying to get our land back from the government and all that. All that does affect our tribal citizens because it displaces us. We don't have a place to congregate and to, safely be, which then leaves us open to, attacks from outside of our community. So I guess somebody asked me, they weren't pointing, they made it very clear that they weren't pointing fingers, but I'll point the fingers, okay? What do you think of the way settlers speak on missing, murdered indigenous girls, women, and two-spirit people? You know, how do I feel about the way they speak on, excuse me, how do I feel about the way they speak on these issues? And I'm gonna be 100% clear that I am and completely disgusted by the way people speak on these things, especially non-natives who, ultimately aren't affected by these issues. So, the way they speak about it they aren't talking about it from a place of, there isn't a place of care coming from it. They aren't. And also, there's also what I see is a lot of like people spreading the false information that 70% of indigenous women in the United States are murdered by indigenous men, which I will leave an article down below that talks about why that's just completely false. I don't have the mental capacity equipped to talk about that at this very moment. That would maybe have to have its own episode, dedicated to that topic and everything that encompasses that. But for right now, I did want to speak on the way that, like, somebody wrote, I didn't settle anywhere, nor did I have involvement in this mess made before I was born. Land is not owned. It can only be controlled. Which, yes, land cannot be owned. That's our point. But you guys are controlling our indigenous lands, which is leading to, high rates of murder for our women, two-spirited, and young girls in our communities. Because this was a post that another settler had posted saying, Dear fellow settlers, please accept the Canadian genocide is real. I promise you accepting it won't be as hard as what indigenous people have had to deal with and are dealing with. The least we can do is begin implementing the hashtag MMIWG2 Spirit Report recommendations. Which, yeah, that's a really good thing. But also at the same time, it's like everybody else in the comments. When they define genocide, they said when they define quote-unquote genocide so that teaching indigenous people to speak English or French, to read and write, and introducing them to science and technology is quote-unquote genocide, you are going to have a tough sell with the quote-unquote settlers, end quote. Which is just, this is like the argument about, you guys want to have touchscreen phones without us, you guys want to have da-da-da-da without us, medicine, like, ma'am, we already have syringes. We had medicine. We had all our own things going on, and we would have been just fine without you guys coming in. Also, the way that people, I keep seeing people bring it up every time somebody talks about missing and murdered indigenous women, girls, and two-spirit people. They always gotta bring up, like, well, you guys were already murdering each other before all this is going down right now, so, really, what's changed? And it's like, intertribal conflicts and relations are nobody else's concerns, especially not settlers and colonizers who are not being affected by these issues. At this point, I feel like I am rambling, so I am going to move on to the next question because that one is a very loaded one that, as you can see, I could talk about forever. I could sit here and make connections. The way settlers talk about this and try to shift the conversation is just interesting. So I had to address everything that people were saying. And if anybody's curious, maybe I'll leave this thread in the description box if I remember. I don't know if I'll remember, but I guess we could, what are some ways you connect to your ancestors? That's a good one. Ways I connect to my ancestors? Mostly through prayer, because like I said, I do not live in I do not live over there where my ancestors would traditionally live. I am not located in the San Francisco area or in Los Gatos. I am located in Fresno, California, so about 6 hours away, which pretty far. That has to do with our ancestors and being displaced and assimilation, forced assimilation, and slavery and all that. We were being enslaved, and we had to move. We had to move around, so we got we got pushed all over the valley. So you'll find a lot of us everywhere. Damian, we're everywhere. Anyways, some ways that I personally connect beyond, being able to actually be on the lands where my ancestors lived and thrived is researching my ancestors, learning about them, learning about, the ways that they lived, what they ate, ways that they hunted, fished, all that stuff. Also, a lot of prayer. I do a lot of prayers that helps connect me with my ancestors. I burn a lot of things they would have burned. So, like angelica root, that's something my ancestors used for prayer. So that's something I use when I want to connect with them. It's a great way that I have been able to connect to my ancestors. Also through tobacco that I get sent from my tia and my grandma up on the res. So, that's cool. That's cool. Also, these ones I feel like might be kind of connected. So we're going to read the question, and then I'm going to answer it, and then I'm going to read the second question. What did you grow up eating, and did your family have a garden, or did you grow up, okay, wait. What did you grow up eating, and did your family have a garden, or did you grow up growing your own foods, or did you forage? And to answer that is no, we did not have a garden, and we didn't really forage. We kind of lived all over the city, so, the idea of foraging in a city is just not very, there's just nothing really appetizing about that. It's just a little gross because of all the pollution and, picking, like, fruits and stuff off the side of the road. It's just not a good idea. But, what did I grow up eating? I grew up eating, like, an array of different things. A lot of different vegetables. Like, I love Brussels sprouts. I love, I just noticed, like, everything I love is probably going to be green. I love broccoli, green beans, anything that's just... I love peas. I grew up eating a lot of stuff like that. I remember growing up eating, like, my mom used to make, like, mashed potatoes with gravy, and depending on what we had, it would either be like ground beef or maybe like pork, but it just really depended on exactly what we had in that moment. That's poor people food. We were poor, so. But my mom always made sure that our food, that we grew up having enough nutrition and everything. So, and the next question that I'm gonna answer is, what is your favorite food memory? So, my favorite food memory would probably have to, like, be, like, I don't know, like growing up, my mom would make, tortillas with, like, sugar and cinnamon and just kind of, like, roll it up, and I forget what she would call it. My mom was a white woman, so she was always making some concoctions. Also, the questions kind of came paired, so I'm just going to answer them paired. The next question was, growing up, where was your favorite place to play? I grew up in Fresno, so my favorite place to play was wherever my friends were. We would be running all around the neighborhood, up and down. We would go to the school, hop over the fence on the weekends and play on the playground, go play at the basketball court. Sometimes we would take our ball, the tether ball, to the thing. I forgot what they're called. The poles with the, the tether ball. I don't know what the hell. We go over there and play. So probably like maybe at the school or just in that general area. Just anywhere my friends were growing up, I would probably be around. Also because growing up, it's like I had my one friend, and that was my friend. That's how I was. When I would get a friend, that was my friend, and, wherever they were, I was probably where. So, it was just up and down the neighborhood all the time. Apologize for any background noises. The animals are acting a whole fool. So, I'm gonna answer this next question now. What/who inspired you to start a podcast? And I think that one's a good one. To be 100% honest, the whole reason I started podcasts, besides, wanting to teach people stuff and talk about things I am very much interested in and passionate about, it's because of James, A. Janice, and Chelsea Rebecca from the Dead Meat YouTube channel. Chelsea, she runs the podcast, and I love it. I love the fact that you could just turn something on and listen to it whenever you like, and it's just, you could just turn on a podcast, chill. I guess it's like how people back in the day would just turn on a radio show, huh? And listen to stuff, whatever was going on. Like, I haven't really listened to many radio shows, I'm being honest. Whenever radio shows were on the radio, I would turn it to the next station to listen to some music. That's just, radio shows weren't something I was into growing up, but I feel like maybe now I would be into some radio shows since I'm so into listening to podcasts. But, yeah. Chelsea Rebecca from, the Dead Meat channel. Her and her podcast is what, inspired me to start a podcast and to talk about it. Especially after she made an episode on the Indian to Bury a Girl trope, and they had, what's his name? The Native American comedian, I forget his name. Joey Clift. Joey Clift, yes, Joey Clift. So, yeah. What are some things that I do for wellness in these hard times? And I'm guessing this is in reference to, like, COVID and stuff. Honestly, I just try to stay as healthy as I can. I mask. I try to, 6 feet apart when I can, because I don't like going out much. But when I do go out, I like walking. I'm a walker. I like going outside. If I'm going to go out and hang out, I'm probably going to go to a park or something rather than go, hang out at like a restaurant or Starbucks or something, or, I don't know, coffee shop. That's just, I'm very much just, social distance as much as you can to keep, healthy. Drink a lot of orange juice, a lot of water, make sure you're getting your vitamins. I take like a lot of like St. John's wort. That's more personal though. And, you should always talk to your doctor before taking any supplements or even any vitamins, because you don't know if you're on any medications, you're not sure how it's going to react to, the chemicals that you're introducing into your body. So my main advice for people who just want, wellness in these times: social distance, drink a lot of water, mask for, first and foremost, mask. Even if people are saying it's not working, mask, because there was a reason why doctors have been masking for decades in the hospitals. It does work. It does stop transmissions as much as it can. And if you're wearing a mask and another person's wearing a mask, the chances of you guys both catching it, I feel like the chances are lowered. So, that's the best advice I could give out when it comes to wellness. I have 2 more questions left, and I feel like one of them is a lot more tough than the second one. So maybe I'm going to answer the hard one first. What are your politics? My politics. I am neither a Democrat nor am I a Republican. I am neither a center either. I reject American politics completely as a whole, because they do not represent me as a Native person, nor do they represent my community, my tribe, my family. They don't represent indigenous people here in North America. Their main goal is capitalism and making more money. Okay? That is it. That's why I am an anti-capitalist. I identify as an economic progressive, which, for short, to simplify it, an economic progressive is an anti-capitalist. It is somebody who believes in, hold on, I'm checking my phone, because I do have my notes right here for some of these questions to answer. Okay, I have my Wikipedia page up. Economic progressivism, or fiscal progressivism, is a political and economic philosophy incorporating the socioeconomic principles of social democrats and political progressives. These views are often rooted in the concept of social justice and have the goal of improving the human condition through government regulation, social protections, and the maintenance of public goods. It is not to be confused with the more general idea of progress in relation to economic growth. So, yeah, to put it simply, I'm an anti-capitalist. I guess to get into a more fun question, and technically the last question, it is 2 questions, but they framed it as one, so I'm gonna answer it as one. What are some of your favorite hobbies, and who is your favorite musician? As far as some of my favorite hobbies go, excuse me. I love to draw. Specifically, I love to write comics. Like, that's something I love. I love literature, so I love reading a lot of books. Specifically, like my bookshelf specifically is full of like books on the occult. I do have like right now it's the Harvard's collection, which has like I don't know if you even heard me right now. I said the Harvard's collection I have on my bookshelf right now, which is just basically an old book full of like old grim fairy tales and stuff like that. So that's a lot of fun. So yeah, like reading, writing, drawing, anything like that. I love watching movies and TV shows. Like at the moment, I am rewatching the anime Kenichi, the World's Mightiest Disciple, I believe it's called. It's an anime. It's super. There's parts of it that's really inappropriate. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. It's from 2008. And if you have any idea of like what the anime scene was around that time, then you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say inappropriateness. Maybe just a little bit too much of fan service when it comes to some of their women and girl characters. It's just a little too much. And my favorite musician, I don't really have a favorite musician. I have favorite types of music and like a lot of artists that I like, but I would never declare one my favorite because I just I had my heart shattered too many times. I can't be out here liking artists who are, who I didn't even know were, like, secretly racist in the past. Like, that shit ain't cool. That's why I don't, like, I'll say I like music. I'll say I like this artist as far as, their music and everything they got going on is going. But I'm not gonna, ride or die for anybody, really. I do love Stevie Nicks' music. Her song led me to, my beliefs, my religious and spiritual beliefs. I practice, folk healing and was a practicing witch for a very long time before I got into specifically the art of healing. But during those years when I was practicing witchcraft, the song Rhiannon by Stevie Nicks, specifically Fleetwood Mac, she led me to research about the goddess Rhiannon and her epithets, or I wouldn't necessarily say their epithets, there are other goddesses that happen to reign over similar things as her and have similar stories and also happen to be Celtic. But that's neither here nor there. That's not what the question was about, but I thought that was something fair to mention. Why, like her music specifically, why it means so much to me. But yeah, that was the last question, and I can't really believe I got through all these questions. That was a lot. If you like this video and you want more like this in the future, maybe I could answer more questions. There's always things you can learn about me that I'm willing to share. If I'm answering the video, that means I'm willing to talk about that. So, if you like me, please go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Huskasmin at the end, lowercase HUSKA, uppercase S, lowercase MIN, I, uppercase T, lowercase HINE. Go ahead and follow the podcast official Twitter page at TCNPod, capital TCNP, lowercase OD. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.